The American Southeast is booming. States like Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee are growing so fast, it feels as though they've discovered some secret to success. But it hasn't always been this way. If we go back in time, we see that the Southeast began from very difficult conditions. So today we'll find out, how did the Southeast become so insanely rich? A few hundred years ago, the Southeast was mainly farmland. The weather was warm and sunny, and the land was good for growing crops like cotton, tobacco, and rice. Most of the work was done by enslaved Africans, who were forced to labor on large plantations. This system enriched some white landowners, but it was deeply unfair and cruel. By the mid-1800s, the Civil War ended slavery, but it left the region in ruins. Farms, railroads, and entire towns were destroyed. After the war, the Southeast struggled to rebuild. People planted crops again, but without enslaved labor, the economy changed. Many farmers, both black and white, ended up as sharecroppers, barely earning enough to survive. For decades after the Civil War, the Southeast remained poor. It depended too much on a single crop, cotton, and did not have many factories or modern businesses. Racial conflict, fueled by Jim Crow laws, slowed economic progress. Many people were kept from receiving fair education, jobs, and wages, which limited the region's growth. By the early 1900s, the Southeast earned far less money than other parts of the United States. Many Americans believed the region would never catch up. Then came the 1930s and the Great Depression. Crops failed, people lost their farms, and the situation grew even worse. But during this crisis, the government stepped in. President Franklin D. Roosevelt launched the New Deal, including the Tennessee Valley Authority, TVA. The TVA built dams to control floods and produce cheap electricity. Suddenly, homes in the Southeast had electric lights, and businesses could use machines to work more efficiently. New crops like peanuts and soybeans were introduced, so farmers no longer relied only on cotton. Slowly, the Southeast began to see new opportunities. World War II in the 1940s brought more changes. The war required ships, planes, uniforms, and other supplies. Some factories moved to the Southeast to take advantage of cheaper labor and materials. Industries like lumber, paper, and petrochemicals started growing. Even though many factories still paid low wages and the region struggled with poor education and segregation, the seeds of change had been planted. By the 1950s and 1960s, the civil rights movement worked to end segregation and secure voting rights for everyone. These changes allowed more people to attend better schools, apply for better jobs, and contribute their skills to the economy. Over time, the Southeast's economy began to grow stronger as more people gained the chance to succeed. Fast forward to the late 20th century and into the early 21st century, the Southeast started attracting major businesses. The cost of living remains lower than in many other regions, except in Miami, of course. The weather is mild, and land is relatively cheap. Not in Florida, though. Companies are building factories and offices here while paying lower taxes and still having access to good transportation like roads, airports, and ports. As people from colder northern states move south in search of warmer weather, new jobs, and affordable homes, cities like Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh, Nashville, Tampa, and Miami are growing in size and influence. The rise of technology reshaped the world's economy, and the Southeast is taking advantage. Major research parks, such as the Research Triangle Park in North Carolina, welcome high-tech companies that hire engineers, scientists, and software developers. Universities are improving their programs to prepare students for these new careers. Hospitals and health research centers are also expanding, making healthcare another strong part of the Southeast's economy, especially in places like Nashville. Meanwhile, global car companies are building factories in the region. BMW in South Carolina, Mercedes-Benz and Hyundai in Alabama, Toyota in Kentucky and Texas, and Volkswagen in Tennessee. These plants created thousands of good-paying jobs and brought suppliers and related industries. The Southeast is no longer viewed as backward. Now, it is a place where advanced automobiles are designed, tested, and shipped worldwide. By 2023, the Southeast had claimed the nation's second fastest-growing economy, expanding by 3.1% and reaching $4.9 trillion. The region has seen dramatic changes since the late 20th century: growth in service industries, manufacturing, high-tech fields, and financial services. Parts of Texas have thrived due to energy and technology, while Florida and the Gulf Coast have enjoyed steady tourism growth. The Southeast is now home to the country's two largest research parks, North Carolina's Research Triangle Park and Cummings Research Park in Huntsville, Alabama. Clean energy is also taking off. Wind and solar farms appear across the landscape, and electric car plants are under construction. Government policies that encourage American-made clean energy have sparked the creation of new factories, construction projects, and jobs. Lower costs help these industries flourish. Once known mainly for farmland and old mills, the Southeast now features solar panels, wind turbines, and labs researching next-generation batteries. Today, as new businesses arrive and the population grows, the quality of life improves for many people. More jobs create more chances to buy homes, send children to better schools, and enjoy safer neighborhoods. Healthcare keeps expanding, with new hospitals and medical research centers opening in large cities. Yet it's important to remember that not everyone benefits equally. Some areas of the Southeast still struggle with poverty, especially rural regions and places historically left behind. Many of the poorest states remain in the Southeast. While large cities prosper, smaller towns may lose people or struggle to compete. The region still needs to work on fairness and equality, ensuring that Black communities, rural populations, and people with less education are not excluded from this new prosperity. So how did the Southeast become so insanely rich? Over time, it learned from past mistakes. It stopped relying on just one crop or one industry and invested in education, infrastructure, and greater fairness. It welcomed new businesses, new residents, and modern ideas. It took advantage of government support, from the New Deal's TVA to recent infrastructure investments, to jumpstart and maintain growth. By blending natural gifts, such as sunny weather and fertile land, with technological innovation and human talent, the Southeast rose from poverty and isolation to a place of incredible growth and opportunity. Today, as we look around the Southeast, we see a region still evolving, working to ensure that its newfound success includes everyone and sets the stage for an even brighter future.